It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And joining us now here on Katz and Cosby is the executive vice president of the Trump Organization, of course, son of former President Donald J. Trump, Eric Trump. Eric, it is so great to have you here on Katz and Cosby.
Rita, John, how are you guys? I miss you both.
We miss you too, and it's great to have you here. You guys have an enormous event coming up October 27th, right in the heart of Manhattan at Madison Square Garden. Talk about what that's going to mean.
Honestly, this is one I wouldn't miss for the world. Obviously, my father's headlining Madison Square Garden. We're coming in with a massive rally, and it's going to be amazing. I mean, listen, I've spent my entire life in New York, and it's a state I love. It's a state that, unfortunately, I think has gone in the wrong direction on a lot of fronts based on really bad policy. But if you could ever get the politicians out of the way in this state, it would just be absolutely unstoppable. It would be unstoppable. It should be the epicenter of the entire world. It should be the financial epicenter of the entire world. And a lot of damage has been done to it, but I can't wait to come to New York. It's a place that we adore. It's a place that we spent our entire lives. Madison Square Garden, the place is going to be. I mean, I've gotten more requests from people. Hey, is there any way to get tickets? How do I get tickets? And so, just everybody sign up early. It's going to be an unbelievable show. We're going to have a great time there.
Give us the website.
Well,
DonaldJTrump.com.
Go, John. Go to DonaldJTrump.com. You can sign up for the rallies. Sign up for Madison Square Garden. I'm going to be there. I'm sure I'm going to speak, right before my father, and he's going to. I can't even imagine how much fun this is going to be, just based on where it is, the venue, and obviously a place that we probably know better than anyone. And it's just going to be fun to quote unquote come home.
What do you think, Eric? Since we're talking about New York centric, the biggest problems in the Northeast are right now?
Yeah, I mean, the problems that's driven so many people out of the state, right? And I'm sitting in New York right now. I'm sitting in Trump Tower as we speak. I mean, taxation in the state has driven everyone down to Florida. Everyone. I mean, and it's Florida, it's the Carolinas, there's so many other places. Crime in the streets have driven everybody away. It's kept businesses from coming in. The political lawfare that you're seeing in New York against my father and frankly others, but specifically, has scared a lot of companies and has kept them out. And so, how do you fix that? Well, you have, and by the way, so many other kind of crazy woke policies, right? So many of kind of the revisionist histories being taught in schools, a lot of craziness that we've seen. And how do we fix it? I mean, New York is unstoppable if the politicians just get out of the way and, be reasonable in terms of taxes, right? We should have a favorable tax environment in the state. You have to have the safest streets anywhere in the world. And the NYPD, they are incredible. They are incredible people. We know so many of them, no different than both of you know so many of them. And John, I mean, I can't even imagine how many you know. They will clean up the streets in about 2.5 seconds if we just let them. But, I mean, to see some of the problems, right now we have 157 hotels in New York City, 157 hotels in New York City that are completely filled with illegal immigrants. How is that
157?
157 hotels that are housing illegal immigrants, well over $1 billion a year, that's being spent on illegal immigrants, right? You have a healthcare system that's totally, it's totally under siege because just the number of bodies, it can't keep up. You have schools which aren't performing well. At what point do we not, kind of return sanity to the system, take care, have the greatest schools in the world, have the greatest public school system in New York, have the safest streets, let the NYPD, the incredible men and women, do what they do best, right? Get rid of the homelessness problems, get rid of the drug pandemic that you're seeing in the city, make it a great business community again where people are able to compete and thrive in a state that's competitive with not only the rest of the world, but with other states in this country. And if New York could do that, it would be absolutely unstoppable, and it can do that. It's not out of reach. In fact, it's incredibly easy to do. You just need somebody that has a little common sense.
Eric, you talked about how many migrants are in New York City. It is stunning, as you were just saying, 157 hotels. How much, Eric Trump, the border crisis, it's a booming issue here, of course, in New York. It's around the country. And yet we hear Kamala Harris making comments like, okay, I'll put my border record up against anybody's. I don't know if there's anyone out there that actually believes when she says something like that. We all see it every single day in New York and everywhere.
So Rita, it's infuriating to me because I have 4 dear friends who have lost kids to fentanyl. before. And these are people I knew extremely well. And you have a fentanyl crisis in this country that's killed 325,000 kids in the last year. Right? Over the course of it, it's over 1 million kids. Think about that. Fentanyl. You have police departments that are running out of Narcan. That's how bad this problem has become. And they do nothing about it. You have Joe Biden sleeping on a beach on a Monday afternoon, literally being photographed sleeping on a beach as the president of the United States. Kamala went 46 days without doing a single interview. She's certainly not doing this stuff, right? But 46 days without doing an interview. Over 320,000 kids have died of fentanyl poisoning this year alone, and they're laughing about it. They're not doing anything about it. You've had 20 million people come across the southern border. Now all of a sudden, you see those people who came into this country legally, and they're trying to get low-income housing. You have a low-income housing shortage in this country, and yet you look at Aurora, Colorado, and so many other places. You literally gang members going in with AK-47s that are telling people to get out of apartments because they want to seize them and they want to use them for themselves. I mean, again, have we not lost our mind? You have public schools that were already stressed to the brim, haven't had enough investment in them over the years, and now all of a sudden they have to take care of 20 million more people or a large portion of that, right? That's come into the country, and now all of a sudden you have to do so with people that might not speak the same language. And I mean, it's stressing the system to the core. You have Kamala Harris come out and say, we need to provide transgender sex change surgeries to illegal incarcerated inmates, and the federal government should pay for that. I mean, she came out, on TV, she said that. I mean, have we lost our minds? I mean, let's have the lowest taxes anywhere in the world. Let's have the safest streets anywhere in the world. Let's have the greatest business community. Let's live the American dream again. Let's have the greatest education. Right now we're rated 30th in the world in terms of education. We should be first in the world in terms of education. Let's maintain a strong dollar so we're always the world's currency, right? Let's take care of families. Let's put faith first. Let's put family first. Let's put our Constitution, our American flag, and everything that we believe in. Let's put our veterans, instead of having them sleep on as so many are homeless, in New York. How in the world can we have homeless veterans who got shot at in wars, who went to war for our country, sleeping under bridges in New York State, yet we're 157 hotels are housing illegal immigrants? Guys, we've lost our mind. We just have to get back to a spot of common sense, and we will. I've never felt stronger about this. I've never felt more positive about an election. I truly believe we're going to win on November 5th, but my father's going to go in there, and he's going to restore some sanity to a country that's otherwise totally lost its way.
I am glad, Eric, that everybody's using the word common sense. I started using it a while back, and if I did a patent on it, I'd make $1 zillion. Because common sense is what we really need. How do people feel common sense? And we've lost all common sense. The other thing that I'm afraid of, Eric, is the rule of law. Where are the lawyers out there? Where are the judges out there that will stand up and say what's happening is not right?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like the Department of Justice has been politicized.
Of course they have.
Wrong.
I mean, they sent the number 3 under the Department of Justice to New York for a year just to prosecute my father, so to try and take him out of the race, to make it more favorable. Guys, I can't tell you as I travel the country,
But
I travel the world, how many people
Why aren't the lawyers speaking up on the rule of law?
I think, John, I think they've started to. I think they've started to because people realize how insane it's been. I mean, they would shut down the city for 9 weeks at a time to go after Donald Trump for $130,000. I mean, it's crazy. No one buys it. No one's seen anything like this, right? I mean, Boeing got fined $200 million and they killed 500 people on 2 jetliners. Yet my father gets a fine of $550 million for having banks come in and testify that they've never worked with a better borrower. I mean, it's crazy. People realize how insane it's become, and I can't tell you, John, how many people have come up to me saying I'm not moving my business to New York because honestly, what I'm seeing there from the legal system is scary, and so. Listen, all of that can be changed and all of that can be reversed. But again, I'm glad you like the word common sense, but we need common sense. We need to put Americans first. We need to put our cities first. Stop with the putting criminals first. I mean, I just went into the Duane Reade on 57th and 6th. It was a couple blocks away from where I used to live. And, John, everything is behind. If you want to buy deodorant, it's behind plexiglass. You have to literally call a manager over to open up a piece of plexiglass. Congratulations. And now all of a sudden you see Walgreens failing. You see Dwayne Reed failing. You know, you're going to have empty boxes all over New York because they can't sell, because guess what? Somebody goes in there and they steal all the product, and the police aren't allowed to do anything about it. They're now not allowed to arrest these people. These stores can't stay in business because they no longer have any product left, because everything gets stolen. And then we get to hear Kamala come out and say, yes, crime is down in this nation. And you know why she says crime is down in the nation? Because she's decriminalized everything. You go over to California, and if you steal less than $1,000, it's not a crime. So just go steal $999, and it's not a crime.
It's crazy, Eric. It's crazy. You know, I'm in the retail business in New York. We own Gristedes and D'Agostino, and it's just out of control. You know, we used to be open 24 hours a day. Nobody wants to walk around at night. There's no law and order. And you know,
John,
why
how
crime
much
is down?
Money? How much extra money? What percentage do you have to add to the cost of an apple, or the cost of a pack of hot dogs or salad or whatever it is, to make up for the theft that otherwise happens? And guess what? Somebody comes in and steals. All the other customers are ultimately going to pay for that, because it increases your cost of goods. And what is that for you? Is that 10%? Is that 7%? Is it 5%? I don't. It's a lot of money at the end of the day, and for these small businesses, they can't cope with that.
Right now, it's 7%. It used to be one. Remember the old rule in retail, 1.5% shrinkage? Now it's 7% between extra security. But
think about the people like me, John, right? Who, if I want to go into a Dwayne Reed and I need to buy shampoo, and you see cough drops on the shelf, and you see congratulations, if those cough drops are locked up, you're not calling a manager over to. There's no sporadic buying anymore, and everybody realizes why Amazon is doing so well. Because they realize for their household, they're not going to go, shop with a manager or a store clerk who has to open up every little piece of plexiglass because somebody wants to buy a new toothbrush. And maybe they'll go in there for absolute necessities, but it's killing retail. It's killing our city. And by the way, I mean, just think about the optics that sends to every single tourist who comes into New York, who might walk into one of these places because they need some toiletry. And they realize they're asking the question, why is it all locked up? Is New York that unsafe? Is it that unsecure? And by the way, the NYPD will take care of this problem in about 3 seconds. You just need to allow them to take care of the problem. And that's why I say we need to use common sense. And we can restore New York to the greatest city anywhere in the world.
And we're going to do it.
No one can compete with our work ethic. No one can compete with our stamina, who we are, our spirit. But, man, we got to allow this place to thrive, and that's what we want to do. And so, honestly, when I talk about Madison Square Garden, how I've never been more excited about having a rally somewhere, it is so much fun. It's going to be so much fun to come back here, and I think you're going to see New York change in ways that you could have never possibly imagined, because everybody listening to us knows exactly what you and I and Rita are saying, and they all feel it, and they all see it every single day. We've had a major degradation of the city, and we've had a major degradation of the state, and we have to bring it back. We have to bring it back.
On the national basis and the city basis, all the Rite Aids are closing. All the CVSs are closing. All the Walgreens are closing. So what are you doing to whether it's San Francisco or whether it's California, Las Vegas, Chicago, if all the retail stores are closing, what the heck is going on?
John, I want everybody just to remember one thing. Right? Kamala Harris was a person who ran California. She was an AG there. She was a DA there. You look at her home city of San Francisco, there is nothing left. And it breaks my heart to say that. We actually have property out there, John. You know that. I've told you that before. We have property out there. Every bank has left. Every big business has left. Elon Musk just left. The city, it's the most expensive city anywhere in the world. Now it's overrun with homeless camps. It's overrun with narcotics, drugs. You walk across hypodermic needles. San Francisco used to be one of the great cities anywhere on the planet, and they have absolutely destroyed it using bad policies. Please don't allow that to happen to New York, a city that I absolutely adore, a city that is in our DNA. We cannot allow that to happen to New York. Lowest taxes, let businesses thrive, let commerce work. Right, and one of the things my father put forward, obviously, no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. So important to a city like New York, which has obviously so much service industry, so much overtime. no tax on any of those things. Allow New York to thrive. Make sure we have the safest streets anywhere in the world, that people can walk around at 3 o'clock in the morning without fear of their lives. Stop the shoplifting. Stop the looting. Stop the car theft. Stop the nonsense. Clean up the train stations, Grand Central and obviously Penn Station. Reinvest in our communities. Reinvest in the roads. Stop with the nonsense of taxing every person who comes into, the tolls in the city are punitive to people. No one wants to commute anymore because they're going across the Verrazano Bridge paying $20 in tolls. Have we lost our minds? And then you see the congestion taxes that they want to put anybody who comes, south of Midtown. I mean, you're just literally you're hurting workers in the city. You're hurting the business community in the city. It's John. It's so easy. You and I and Rita, we could do it in about 3 seconds with our eyes shut. We have to safeguard the city. We have to protect it.
I agree.
We have to bring it back. We have to bring it back.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric, finally, too, what is sort of your final message out there to folks listening, and especially about early voting, because it's already getting underway in so many states, and also to women, too, as well?
Guys, get out there and vote. I mean, you're listening to us and you know everything that we're saying. It's fact. These people have run our country into the ground. They're not cheerleaders for America. There's no pride. There's no fight. We have an administration who has no fight. We have an administration who has failed on the border. They've failed on the economy. The world has never been more expensive. America has never been more expensive. America has never been less safe. I mean, it's terrorists are coming into this country left and right. We know that based on the reports at the southern border.
And we're on the brink of World War III, Eric.
We are. I mean, listen, our greatest ally in the world, Israel, is getting shelled every single day. Shelled. And you have people in Congress who won't even vote to give them defensive, not offensive, but defensive weapons. I mean, you have AOC from this state who literally voted against giving, Israel the ability to defend themselves using the Iron Dome from incoming rocket attacks. I mean, faith is under attack. Religion is under attack. Our Constitution's under attack. Our financial system is under attack. The U.S. dollar has never been in greater jeopardy than it is right now.
And she turned her back to the Catholics, not showing up at the Al Smith dinner.
Of course, the Al Smith dinner. She's not showing up at the Al Smith dinner, and my father's going to be there on Thursday. John, Rita, it's crazy. There's no family in the world that loves New York more than the Trump family, and I promise we're going to restore it. We're going to restore it. My father's going to win, but you have to get out and vote. And honestly, it would be the greatest honor and privilege and pleasure of my life if we could flip this state and people got out there in the masses and they voted. We're going to take back this country, guys.
Eric,
we're going to take back this country, and we're going to restore some common sense.
God bless America, and me and Rita will see you there at Madison Square Garden.
Can't wait.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Bye, Rita.